What is going on, y'all? Welcome back to 8 Cubes. I'm KMBest. He's Lamby Series. We're going to kick things off talking about Captain Carter, the season pass card from the What If season, dropping on Tuesday. She is a 4/3 with a very interesting, or at least confusing, ability, which is an ongoing ability that gives her power to the cards behind her in the back row at the lane, or if she is the third card in that lane, to the fourth card in that lane. So this is a card that wants to be the first or second card in a lane very, very desperately, has some obvious synergy with Sam Wilson outside of them both saying the word ongoing. There's some synergy with moving there as well. What, other than should Sam Wilson shield buff Captain Carter, which it will not, do we have any major thoughts on Captain Carter, Landy?
Yeah, so this card, firstly, I like how they're introducing new, like, I wouldn't say keywords, but new, like, interesting interactions between for the new cards, right? Like, this is not a card that we've ever seen before. It's basically buffing stuff in your location, but, like, at the back. We've never really had anything that does this as a card before, so this is firstly good because it's new. 4/3, I would say, in general, you're, like, without buffing this card itself, you're just adding 3 power to the stuff in the back. I would say decent, but obviously it comes around with very obvious issues also. This kind of card just means that you just really want to commit onto one location, right? Like it's very obvious when you play this card, your opponent is gonna know that you're gonna be committing more to one location, and having that kind of predictability probably just reduces the overall flexibility and power of the card. I mean, the stats is gonna be good. Like I'm pretty sure the stats is gonna be good, but it's very obvious, you know. It's very obvious that that's gonna be a stacked location, and you only have so many turns to stack a location. So that's why I'm a bit not so optimistic on this card being fantastic. But I guess it's fine. Not every season pass card needs to be an amazing blowout card, you know?
I do think that this card, the number one top line takeaway from it that I have is this card is not flexible. This card is not
Correct.
Flexible in a variety of different ways. It won't play flexibly. It'll be very hit or miss. Are you getting a Galacta buff onto this? Are you putting this in a lane with a Captain America, right? Like, what are you getting out of this card? How much are you getting out of this card? Where is it positioned? And how much are you investing to get what you can get out of it? The reason it's so inflexible is that it just feels like this is a very hard card to balance, right? I can very easily see a world where this card releases and they're like, it's a little bit too weak, but they can't make it a 4/4 because if they make it a 4/4, it'll be way too strong. And I can also see a world where this card releases and it's a little bit too strong, and they can't make it a 4/2 because that would be way too weak. Every change to this card's power is actually a threefold change to this card's power. And so what that means is that it's going to scale based off of two things. One, how much power can you give it? And two, how many units can you get behind it? I think people are going to do some really legitimate stuff with this card. I just don't know how much of that is because it's releasing into a metagame with a lot of really powerful, really relevant ways to do that kind of stuff for free. It's very good for this card that it's going into a metagame where Galacta is already massively played, where Sam Wilson is already massively played. And for those who don't understand what I'm talking about with Sam Wilson, being able to like play this as the third card in the lane and then move the Sam Wilson shield out will make it the second card in a lane. Like that stuff is really important. The shield then comes back and it gets the buff from her. Like all of that stuff, like just little stuff will matter with this card. And I think that it's in a position where this can be a really beneficial thing. One really big lane and then a juggernaut in another lane. That's a really good way to win games right now. You can do that. The one thing that I think will hold this card back, it says ongoing on it.
Yeah. I mean, I like the whole juggernaut idea that you mentioned, but at the same time, you still need to have a little bit of points in that juggernaut location to sort of like officially like win the location, you know. And then you're already gonna be investing very likely I wouldn't say 4 turns, but like 4 cards in the Captain Carter lane for like maximum power, and that's like maybe minimum 3 turns of time investment in one location already. And then like the thing about these kind of cards where you need to commit to a location early is also, I mean, Marvel Snap locations reveal 1, 2, 3, right? So you don't want to be committing on the unknown location. What if it's a bad location, right? If it's a bad location, you actually played your first unit there already. Then the whole Captain Carter dynamic becomes worse because like then now you can't really play more cards into that bad location, but you kind of want to play a lot of cards in that location to further support Captain Carter. So also she costs 4, which means that there's gonna be 3 turns of cards being played before her,
Yeah.
I think that one is super important, which is also another reason why she cannot really cost 3, because then there's only gonna be 2 cards that's gonna be played before her, which makes her infinitely more powerful.
I mean, they
so
also
I think this card at
Silver
this card
Surfer.
at 4 is probably supposed to be like this way, because they've probably done the testing and realized that like any other power level or cost is gonna be too much of a difference,
They definitely can't make it 3 because of like Silver Surfer. You're
Yeah,
just like, you're
definitely not.
legally not allowed to do that. Like, you're not allowed to be like, oh yeah, let's make this like a 3 whatever. It doesn't matter. There's Galacta, there's Silver Surfer. That deck just exists. It's gonna, like, you can't do that, right? So
it's so easy to make this disgusting when it's 3. It's like you go play this first, then you play Brute in the location, and
yeah,
it's
just
done.
like, oh, okay, well, that was nice. Like, we had a ton of fun. But yeah, like, you can't do it if it's going to be a Silver Surfer card. So it has to cost 4 or like 2. And if it costs 2, you can't give it any power. And so it's like,
it's gotta be a 2-1, man. If
Yeah.
it's 2, definitely gotta be a 2-1.
And so it's like, this feels like it's like these might literally be the only possible numbers that can go on this card. And that's it's
Highly
like
likely.
so it's inflexible not just in how it plays, but in like ability to adjust in the future. This is a really weird card.
Yeah, so the crazy thing is, if 4-3 still ends up being busted, they have to nuke the card, right? Like,
I mean, they
because
can 4-2
they cannot do
it.
anything else.
They can 4-2
Okay,
it.
yeah. 4-2 is a nuke. 4-2 is a nuke. It's gonna be so much worse.
Like, that's the thing. Any change to this card is a 3-fold change to this card.
Yeah.
It's crazy. A card I think a lot of people are going to try running with Captain Carter. Goliath is a 2-1 with an ongoing ability, giving it +1 power for every ongoing you have. I believe every other ongoing, I should clarify. But this is it's a card that when I look at it, I'm like, oh yeah, this probably should have existed the whole time. Like, you probably should have made this card like when you made Angela, like way back in 2022.
Yeah, when you made Punisher, by the way, you should have made this card.
you probably should have made this card forever ago. And the fact that the most interesting thing about this card to me is that it itself is an ongoing ability, because they could have not done that, right? But they were specifically like, no, dude, we're going to really stress test how good ongoings can be. Like, we're going to say, you have more ways of dealing with ongoings than basically any other card type. You have Enchantress, you have Rogue, you have Echo, you have Red Guardian. There are more things that hit things that the ongoing deck plays than literally anything else, right? And so that is a reasonable place to put power. But this is a really strong card. Like, this is just like, I don't know if it's going to make ongoing the best deck in the game. I don't know if it's possible for an ongoing deck to consistently be the best deck in the game, given the quality of counterplay we have. But this is the kind of card that can make me look at the kind of counterplay we have and be like, maybe that's not enough. Like, maybe this card can actually do it.
The funny thing is, I feel like this card, like you said, firstly should have existed a long time ago, because it just plays so well into what ongoing does, right?
Yeah.
It's like just buff each other and just exist on the board and buff each other. Like, you even can have the Spectrum finisher if you just curve perfectly for all your ongoing stuff, which I think this could be one of those things. The thing about this card is that, like you said, there's the potential for it to be extremely big, right? Like, it's just for a 2-cost card, there's the potential for this to be really, really, really big. And that's also I think the testament to the fact that like ongoing is just so easily countered. Like, can you imagine like an entire ongoing that you just build an entire ongoing there, and then you just see one Enchantress and you insta lose? I mean, that's what ongoing basically is right now. And I think they feel safe printing this card and also giving it the ongoing text, which is like the reason they feel safe, So I think this card should land well. People will try the decks that... Okay, so my opinion is that this card will work in the decks that it's supposed to work in really well, like ongoing stuff. But will ongoing stuff become king of the meta? Maybe you for 24 hours and then it will not again because of all the counters in the game. But I'm pretty sure this will land well in the decks that it's supposed to go in.
There is one wrinkle to both of these cards, and I think it's an important wrinkle to address, and it is the fact that you're going to want Sam Wilson to play him. You just are. Like this is just a
100%.
like for Goliath it's obvious, right? Like you're just going to have a bigger Goliath just by nature of it. But for Captain Carter, just the ability to like adjust space for a card that cares about having its lane filled, the ability to just move stuff around is so incredibly important. And this is just going to be any deck that is playing these cards is probably going to play Sam Wilson. And I do think that it's probably worth highlighting that because by the time this comes out, there is still going to be a bit of time for people to buy the season pass. Oh no, it's been a month. Never mind. Sorry. Talk a little bit about everyone's favorite dead bird god, Konshu. He is a card that I think has not gotten the ability to show everything he can do, in large part because half of the decks he goes in kind of hard counter the other half, which is to say, if you wanted to play like some Moon Knight, Black Bolt, discard your opponent's stuff kind of Konshu, you basically weren't able to, because everyone else was playing the kind of discard where you want to discard your own stuff, and helping them is a bad idea. And so I do think that Konshu has more potential than he showed. What he showed so far is, in my opinion, not enough reason to buy him unless you're a big fan of Apocalypse, which, I mean, I kind of am. I like it. But I will say that there is genuinely unexplored territory with this card, but that's not a guarantee that it's going to be fruitful to explore that territory. Like, I don't know if the Moon Knight stuff's going to actually be good. I just know that we can't play it right now.
Yeah, I mean, on a very personal note, I'm actually very sad that this didn't land super well. Because, like, you mentioned big fan of Apocalypse, right? I'm a very big fan of the Apocalypse card because soft spot in my heart. It was the first deck that I really tried very hard to complete after getting out of, like, pool 1 ongoing, you know.
Yeah.
It was the first deck that I tried so hard to, like, make sure I open all the caches and hope that I get, like, the exact discard cards that I needed, like the Morbius and all that kind of thing, just to make the deck. So, big boy discard deck was always something that I wanted to do. But I guess it didn't really land very well also because, like you said, right, the two kinds of discards, the MODOK all-in thing and then the Bullseye stuff, they don't really play super well together. Like, you kind of, like, cannot really fit all of that stuff and make it work together, you know. So I guess the thing about Konshu is that I still believe, as you said, that there is unexplored potential because you just literally need to get one discard off.
Yeah.
It's just one. Like the 612 times 2 thing with whatever is nice, but 6-8, right? And then you respawn the thing that has maybe an additional effect. Like we talked about Gore previously and stuff like that. It's really, really good already, you know. I just think that maybe now we are in the point of meta whereby this kind of engine or package just cannot fit well with what we have right now. But yeah, I mean, this we talk about future value of cards a lot. I don't want to go too deep into that. This card will be good in the future thing, blah blah blah. But I really want this to be good in the future because I feel like it's just so simple. You just need to get one good discard off and then it will work.
Well, it's not one good discard. It's like you need at least 2 because you got to hit Konshu and something else for him to bring back.
That's true. I mean, okay, fine. You need to get one good MODOK off and then it's done. Yes, that's basically it. And it's curved so I swear to God, they definitely thought about this. Like, it curves so perfectly. It's just 5-8 MODOK into the 6 bomb. So, you know.
We're going to talk a little bit about the Snap Packs system as I understand it, a little bit of speculation in this topic, and a little bit of just what I would like to call, obviously I'm going to be right, so it's not actually speculation if I end up guessing correctly. That doesn't count as a guess. I was just right the whole time. So, what I want to do is sort of guess at the prices or talk about what I would be happy with the prices for each of the packs in the Snap Pack system. So I'm going to throw these at you. Let me know if you agree with my reasoning. Let me know if you have any edits. If you're like, no, KM, you're full of crap. Number 1, we're entering this by understanding it is going to be 6,000 tokens for a new card. Full stop. We'll cover that a little bit in the next topic. So I think that the new Series 5 packs will cost somewhere between 4,500 tokens and 5,500 tokens. I think 5,000 is a good range, but somewhere between like 45, maybe 45 to 5,000. Like, I don't think they're going to give us a massive discount for rolling. And for that reason, I actually think that there will be less usage of these packs than you think. Like, I think that ultimately snap packs is kind of a bad name for this system because it sort of elides what's actually happening here, which is you can now use the resources you get on the collection track to actually just go get cards you want instead of being at the mercy of spotlight caches. For the Series 4 packs, I'm guessing 2,500. That one feels really straightforward to me. It's got to be less than 3,000, but it can't be that much less than 3,000. Like, I'd be surprised if it was 2,000, right? So, like, my basic guess is, like, maybe it's, like, 6,000 for a new card, 5,500 for the Series 5 pack, and then the big discounts are going to be at the Series 5 old cards and the Series 4 old cards. And I think these ones are going to bear a lot of weight. Because right now, when you're a new player, you enter the game and you like get up to spotlight caches and you open a card per key, basically. You're getting good rate on that. And I think that it's important that they maintain good rate in terms of card volume, if not card targeting. There should be an option for someone to just be like, I want the most cards possible as fast as I can do it. I'm not going to spend anything on targeting. I'm just going to get as many cards as I can. And that should be pretty close to the rate of 1 key per card, which is about 3,000 tokens per card. And so my guess is that new Series 5, somewhere between 3,500, or old Series 5 between 3,500 and 4,500. Old Series 4, this is where things get dicey. Because I don't know if they'd be willing to let us get old Series 4s for 2,000. I just don't know. Like, I don't know if that's a thing they'd be interested in doing because Series 4 right now contains a bunch of X Series 5s. If they were, I think that would be good. And then the Series 3 thing, I would imagine, has to cost less than 1,000 tokens, so like 800 or something.
Yeah, okay, so let's start with the Series 3 thing one first since you mentioned it last.
Sure.
I think the Series 3 one could be mega cheap, by the way. It could
Really?
Yeah, I think because there's so many Series 3 cards, and that's where the gamba is at, right? Like that's where you will think that it's worth to like, because if it's so cheap, the illusion of like, okay, so basically if you put it a bit cheaper, but there's a lot of Series 3 cards, right?
Yeah.
People will be very inclined to just open packs, to see which Series 3 they don't have yet. But obviously this is also only relevant to people that are not initial collection complete. So the new players will be very inclined to gamba here, and like it will feel like a real pack opening experience for them because it's like not super expensive and there is a lot of pool to open from, The one where you mentioned regarding the whole like the new series, what was it? Old Series 5 cards dropping down to Series 4, right? Those will be...
Yeah,
what do you think?
Well, the old Series 4 is where it gets dicey, because it's like, will they really give us old Series 4s for 2,000 tokens? Because that seems to be like...
it used to be previously Series 5,
yeah,
right?
because it's like, we're looking at like the most recent Series 4s probably have to be like 2,500, because the base Series 4 is 3,000, right?
Correct.
So the next gradation down is 2,000, and it's like, there's kind of a lot of good Series 4s. Are they really willing to do that?
Yeah.
Like, that's...
I mean, I think as much as it's like, it's not really a loss for them, but at the same time, I feel like they will just do it because it's so difficult to split tiers within the Series 4 as well, right? They can't go like, oh, this is a newer series. I mean, they could, but I think it's too much hassle to split the tier. So it could just be a benefit if like cards that just newly rotated down get the same cost as the ones that have been there for a long time already. So I'm optimistic that will be the direction, and that will be and also the prices that you mentioned are, I think, fine because Firstly, it's a very obvious discount. It's definitely cheaper. And secondly, the whole like selling stuff in the store ideology whereby if it used to cost like $5 and it's now $4.99, then it's like it looks cheaper than it used to be. So I mean, as long as it looks cheaper, it will work. Like when you market a thing as like, oh, this is snap packs, it's better than before, and the price physically looks less, it psychologically will work. So obviously, I'm not gonna say like put it at 2,900, but like the fact that it could be 2,500 is good enough for people to buy. I promise you, it works. It works.
Now, Lamby, I know you've never been much for like economic analysis content. That's never really been your deal, which is why I'm doing another economic analysis segment right now.
Let's try this. Let's try.
I do think this one's a little bit more like germane to game theory, basically, which is this is a system that is billed as snap packs. That's what it's called. But ultimately, what it does mostly is at a good rate of conversion, right now we have the ability to have both tokens and keys, right? Oh, I thought you froze. I thought you were just.
No.
Oh my god. Okay. Right now,
at a screen.
I am the most engaging speaker of all time. No one could ever get bored listening to me. Right now, we have both tokens and keys. And keys are like a sort of opaque value proposition where how good they are depends on what's in the caches basically every week. And what this system is doing is saying, at worst, you can use 2 keys to get any card in the game. And ultimately, I think that's probably going to be happening more than people think. Because when I look at the system, what I see is I will never, unless I have a guaranteed pull on the new card from the new card pack, I will never engage with it in any way. Like, I will only, it is not worth like 4,500 tokens. It's not worth 3/4 of a card to have a 50% chance to not get the card I want. And that's if I have 2 cards in that pack. It's definitely not worth 3/4 of a card for me to have a, 1 in 5 at the card that I want. It is always going to be me spending the 6,000 and going and getting what I want instead, right? I can't see a way that that's not true. And again, perhaps I am overestimating the collective intelligence of the Marvel Snap community. I got comments on my video about this that were like, one of the things I'm really going to miss about this system is being able to roll 1 key every week. And it's like, well, you shouldn't be doing that, but okay. Like, maybe I'm missing something, but to me, it seems like there's going to be a lot of 6,000ing in people's future.
Yeah, so the logically correct answer, and I also 100% agree with you, is that if you can 6,000 to guarantee yourself, why not, right? And I think that will be something that a lot of the people that have been that have succumbed to the cash system, would definitely appreciate this a lot, including me. I'm very not good at one caching stuff. That's what I can tell you for sure. I'm very bad at it. So this is definitely a very big positive for me. But also we cannot underestimate the fact and the natural ability for people to love to gamble. Like, they will love it. You cannot deny it. Like, the fact that you can get a comment that's like, oh, I miss the ability to maybe one cash stuff. That is also an excitement value tag to every week's new release, which obviously economically is not very correct. But the reason this system was even there to begin with is because SD kind of new people like to try their luck. Like, I mean, there's a gacha element in all of this that will never go away. So I feel like there will be people that still, as much as it's so obviously better to just guarantee yourself with the 6,000, they'll be like, but this is slightly cheaper. Let's click the button and see if we get our card despite being almost completely collection complete.
It's just like I feel so bad for the person doing that.
It's just wrong, but at the same time, it's excitingly wrong. So I don't know, man. I don't think I would do that, especially if I don't have an abundance of like spare token or spare whatever. But
one of my absolute favorite things about Marvel Snap is the dynamic that Arishem has with everything else, which is to say, like, the more developed a metagame is, the worse Arishem is. The better other decks are, the more focused they are, the worse Arishem gets because it is unable to be focused in that way. But the freshness of a post-nerf metagame means that people just go running straight back to Arishem for like 5 days every time. And I think that's just an awesome, like, it's just a very fun dynamic to have because, like, the fact that there is a deck that is like explicitly a deck that is like, I thrive when people aren't sure what to do. I thrive in unpolished.
I thrive in chaos, dude.
Yes.
I thrive in chaos, quite literally. I mean, like, Arishem is interesting, and I think it's also very true because Arishem is one of those decks that, like, the guaranteed benefit is the energy, right? Like, it's like the payoff of playing the deck. But at the same time, it's also, like you said, it gets way worse when people actually find what's the good thing to do already.
Yeah.
Like, without finding the good thing to do yet, Arishem is just like, all right, this is just like energy cheat. It's just good cards. Let's just play it. But like, this is not just Arishem. Remember back a while ago, instead of Arishem, the culprit for this was Thanos. Every single time there is a nerf, they're like, oh, maybe Thanos is good again. Because because there was the existence of, all right, I don't know what to do. Let's just go back and play Mindstone Snap dot deck. But that was basically what happened with Thanos and what's happening with Arishem right now. But I agree, it's a super fun dynamic because it's like good old reliable. Like, all right, new meta. I guess Galacta lost the point. I guess it sucks now. Let's go back and play Arishem. But fun fact, it doesn't suck. Anyway.
It's just it's so good. It's like the guy who goes to like the college place and goes like change my mind, and it's just like that's the attitude that an Arishem player has like in the first 3 days of the season. Like, look, until you prove to me that I can't play this, I'm gonna keep doing it. Like, until
my oldies in the chat, I need to use another reference, which is all you Thanos lovers. It's not just you, man. It's the Thanos lockjaw lovers. I swear to God, every single time there's a nerf. Don't get me started on when the lockjaw actually got
yesterday if they could play Thanos lockjaw.
Yeah, you see, it's not even the oldies. It's even after 2 years they think the same way because Thanos lockjaw hold out such a special place in our hearts. And also, you know why? Covering back to the previous few topics, because Thanos Lockjaw is literally a casino, and people like the gamba. So so the theory whereby people will not spend your 6,000 to guarantee a card might actually be more probable than we think.
The funniest thing about the previous discussion is there is one deck that basically everyone agrees is good in some way, shape, or form. It is the Bullseye discard deck. What's happening right now with Arishem decks is insanely funny to me, because they're basically just like, we're going to play 4 tech cards for that matchup. We're going to play Lady Deathstrike. We're going to play Enchantress. We're going to play Red Guardian. We're just going to like overload tech cards for that matchup. And then it's like, well, if they're not good, who cares? We're still Arishem. And so if that is the old, like, you know how I talked about it? It thrives when there's no one knows, like none of the focus decks. Yeah. That's the one deck people are sure about that it exists, and they were just like, all right, well, what if like fully a third of my deck is for you? What if a third of the cards I play are aimed at you, and then the rest of the time I'm just gonna try to BS some Agamotto deck out of here? And it's like that is indicative of one thing, which is that discard has consistently, since the release of Bullseye, just been good. Like, just a good to great deck in every metagame, consistently, week over week over week. It is a stalwart of the meta, and it deserves to be praised as such, and that's what I'm trying to do here.
Yeah, so this deck is not just to be praised for no reason, right? Like, I can literally break it down to you. Like, this deck is just the recipe of good card deck.
It's
right
combo
now because,
though. Like, it's that, but combo. It's
but
a whole thing.
Is, it has everything. It has tempo, it has stats, it has free stuff. You can do free stuff, you can get free cards with it. And it consistently does it in multiple ways, you know. It's not like, I think the reason why the Konshu thing didn't land also is because you kind of do one thing and do it in one way only. This deck can like discard at multiple points, and then it can play cards in multiple places, and a lot of it is free or cheap. So like it's just the recipe for good deck, right? Flexible, has energy cheat, enough points, can run tech. By the way, you can actually run tech in this. So, you know, I do think the recipe for a generic good deck is in this card deck, you know. And like the Arishem thing was quite interesting because like Arishem is just a bunch of cards, but if so much of the tech cards is dedicated to beating this, you kind of know that like the deck that it's trying to beat is just a mainstay, right? Like in your nonsense deck full of chaos and running a bunch of everything, you play so much of your deck to beat a specific like matchup. You kind of just know.
I mean, like, I'm not sure how much of that is like respect for discard as a deck that stands head and shoulders above everything else, and how much of that is just like, well, basically every time like a good cards deck gets nerfed, I hear a good player, and I mean like really good players, someone will tell me like, oh, it's time for discard to be the best deck. And it has never happened, but it is constantly a thing people think will happen. And it's been a very good deck before. It's been one of the best decks before. But like, I think one of the things people think will happen a lot is like, all right, now that they've nerfed Galacta, it's time for discard to shine. And people were saying that like all the way back with the move bounce nerfs. Now they nerf move bounce, it's time for discard to be the number one deck. It just hasn't happened. But like, that is a thing that I hear a lot, and so it is another deck that, in the wake of nerfs, tends to pick up popularity, because people know how to build it, they know what it is, it has a very high ceiling, it gets to bully stuff out, And that feels good in early metagames. So Arishem reacting to that is not necessarily because, like, discard is head and shoulders above everything else, but because it's the only other deck that everyone can agree is good right now.
Yeah, I think one aside, I'm not necessarily sidetracked, but I think I just had like an idea that popped up in my head. How solved do you think this Bullseye deck is? Because it's been around for quite a while, right? Like, how solved do you think it's like? Do you think there's actual flexibility? I think not much left.
It's like
not
one
really,
card.
Right?
You can like mess around. Like my most recent best decks, I took out a Frigga and put in a Gambit. And it was like people were like, "There's no way that's right." And it's like, yeah, it probably isn't. I don't know, but like, it's just one of those things where it's like you can do what you want with it. Like, it's gonna be like 11 of the same 12 cards every time. You know?
Yeah, I think this deck feels like it's at a point whereby if you change something, people are gonna crucify you for changing a proper recipe that's supposed to never be changed. To be clear,
I think they're probably right. What I was trying to do was contrast it with the Konshu discard builds in the video. Just to be clear, I play Frigga. But, like, still, like, it is sort of like, all right, this is like, 11 out of these 12 cards are going to be.
This is Grandma's 70-year-old apple pie recipe. You do not touch it for no matter what. It just works. Don't try and not be a Frigga gamer, that kind of thing.
How dare you try to mess with this recipe, dog?
How dare you change the 1 gram of sugar or something?
Unbelievable, man. Dog. You added an extra 0.5 grams of pumpkin spice to the recipe? Yeah. I can't believe you.
It's gonna be bad now.
Wanted to, I guess, close off the month with an Agamotto review. I just want to like if I was a better YouTuber, what I'd be doing right now is like a montage of people saying Agamotto and Isan are so broken and definitely going to be nerfed from week 1. Because like the Isan stuff, obviously wrong. But the Agamotto stuff, like people were absurdly high on this card. The spell that is the third best of them is constantly brought up as the one that they should nerf.
Wins.
Yes. Right? And the one that I thought was the best of them is the worst of them. So I'm not immune from being super wrong.
When you thought the one was the best?
Yes. It draws a card, okay? What I fail to understand is that half the time it does not draw a card.
Yeah, exactly.
But I thought that for 12 hours, I thought that.
Yeah, I mean the wind's like bashing was, I think, super over the top. Like people just didn't realize that this card is not a card; it's a spell.
It's not a card.
Like, it doesn't. Yeah, it's a different. There's a difference. There's a difference. It's just a spell. But like, yeah, okay. The whole Agamotto thing. Firstly, Isan is hilarious because the word Isan never appeared on the timeline ever since the week Isan was launched till now. Like it disappeared after that week. So that was really very quickly put to rest, right? But Agamotto himself, I feel. So this is the thing. I was also very high on this card because I love this style of card. Like, you guys know that I love this kind of flexible card. But I think what also kept Agamotto in check was that it's not a card that synergizes within itself. It's not like just Agamotto and the 4 spells are just broken. You need to build decks around it as well. And then the thing is when you do that, right, you add more moving pieces to a card that already has some moving pieces, So it's like not as flexible as people thought. Like the real good Agamotto decks actually don't stray very far from a particular shell. Like it's all very similar cards, So I do think that Agamotto might not be as flexible of a card that initially we thought in terms of deck building.
Yeah, I do want to shout out Derek here, who created the original shell that became the Season Passler. He sent it to me. He had Loki instead of Sam Wilson. He was like, I'm 100% sure Sam Wilson would be better. I just don't own him. And I was like, well, I own Sam Wilson.
Such a Derek thing.
Yeah, it's like, I own Sam Wilson, so clearly I can do this. And then I played it and it was really good. And like that has sort of like the two things that deck brought to Agamotto decks. Number one, like the King Atri stuff, I think was really important for that deck. The other thing that was really important was understanding that the multiplication of 4 drops with images of Icon was the power spike for the deck. And so like Galacta and Gwenpool in the deck, like that kind of stuff, building towards Agamotto, that realizing that's what it looked like, right? And so like that is sort of the thing that I think that like, I guess I will not take credit for this. I want to be like super clear because this was a list that was sent to me and I didn't even have to think about the replacement. It was just like, he was like, you should definitely replace this. I just don't own him. So like I just do think that like that is something that like that was like the biggest jump for Agamotto when people actually figured out what it looked like to build around him. And that's something that's worth shouting out.
Yeah, I think I was a bit wrong also because I think a few weeks back when Agamotto was first came into this shell, right, at the Gwenpool collector thing.
Yeah.
I said something like, I guess this card might still have a lot of room for like exploration and all that. Like just as a comment.
Yeah,
but I realized that you guys actually already found like Derek or whoever.
Yeah.
Derek probably already found the best shell, which is like the Galactic Gwenpool. Like I don't know if it's by chance or by true testing, but that turned out to be the best that it could be for now, you know. But yeah, I still find it. Agamotto month was great, right? Like I like the card. Like at the end of the day, I like the card because it's so unique and it does open up new ways of like sort of like deck building a little bit. But I guess it was a lot more limited than I initially thought.
All right, y'all. Thank you so much for watching. I've been KMBest. He's been Lamby Series. I pointed the right direction, and he's about to take us out.
All right, like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.